Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video, we are going to talk about eyeshadow palettes, and not any eyeshadow palettes in our collection. We're going to talk about our top 10 Halloween palettes in my collection. Some of them I have and is available for you. Some of them have already expired and it's not available for you, and some of them are just coming in my collection, but I definitely wanted to talk about it. So if you are in a mood of talking about eyeshadow palettes, then please keep on watching. Okay, let's start off with the eyeshadow palette, which I feel like it's perfect for Halloween season, and it's from Glaminatrix and it is Into the Night palette. I have this majority on my eyelid for this eye look. So I want you to cover this part. So I basically rearrange the neon shadows and put it on this side, and rest everything is in order. Look at this and tell me if this doesn't scream Halloween, I don't know what does. I basically have this blue all across my inner and the outer corners. I have this all across my crease. I have, what is this? This one in my inner corners. For my center of the eyelid, I'll tell you when I reach there. I love Glaminatrix palettes. You know how much I adore their, what is that called? Sugar and Spice palette. And the one that is coming in my collection, that is Richly Romantic palette. I cannot even tell you how much I am anticipating to play with it, to put my paws into it and put it all across my body. But this palette, I feel like for Halloween palettes, this is the palette for you. I really love how versatile this palette can go. You can definitely dive into, like, I love the deeper tones in this palette, especially this blue, this burgundy, this green. This green doesn't scream green to me. It's more of like a gray with a green undertone. I love that. And this transition shade looks super light, but it is a beautiful crease shade on me, and it goes with every other shade in this palette. This is so beautiful to blend with any of the mattes, the deeper mattes in the palette. I feel like, and the shimmers are stunning. I feel this palette was curated with such beautifulness in mind. And even if you want to dive into like Halloween and you want those punchy neon shades, this is so good. Like, this would glow. Like, I love that this palette was curated, and I love that this is an Australian indie brand. So it would come off season like the Richly Romantic palette that's going to come in the market. It's spring for them. It's Halloween for us in America. But I love that. I love that I can see variations and like difference in the eyeshadow palettes, because if one brand releases a nude eyeshadow palette, that to a cool tone nude eyeshadow palette, every brand would release the same kind of color story, which I am bored of. So that freshness Glaminatrix gets to us, and I love that about it. So this is my first palette. Too long. Okay, the next eyeshadow palette, actually next 3 eyeshadow palettes are from the same brand. I didn't even know which palette to recommend to you, because all 3 of them are absolutely superb. I mean, we're going to talk about Gourmande Girls, and they have their Spooked eyeshadow palette that came in 2021, I would say. I would say, or was it 2021 or 2022? Maybe 2022, okay? Maybe this was 2022 Spooked palette. This, all 3 of them are in collaboration by Doodles by the Bunny. This is how this palette looks. More colorful, more like variety in tones, with like very beautiful multi-chrome shimmers and duochromes. I love the mattes in this palette too. This palette, truly amazing. I have a code with Gourmande Girls as well as Glaminatrix Cosmetics. It's just Smithy Sony. You can save 10% off. This was the first palette. The second palette, off order. The second palette was the Nightshade palette. I love this palette. I'm a big purple fan, and this palette is exactly like, it's more of a purple palette with pops of greens and yellows, but these tones does something special to me. I love everything about this palette. Really, this just screams Halloween to me. I love it. I am a little bit biased for this palette just because it's a purple palette, but I really love it. I think you can get so much of variety. Even this yellow, it might seem like a yellow, but as soon as you put it in your eyes, it's like a lime green. Let me show you. Like, look at that. And these palettes, the shades are so vibrant. Can you see that? Oh my God. I love that Nightshade palette. And third, the recent palette from them is the Haunted palette. This is like a merge between the Spooked and the Nightshade together. This is how the color story is. I would say if you're more into greens rather than purples, this would be the palette for you. If you're more into purples and a less of green, Nightshade would be the palette for you. And if you want variety of every different shade and you want like total Halloween shades, then Spooked is the palette for you. But this is how it looks. I love this blue shimmer. On the eyes, it looks stunning. This purpley pinky shade, amazing. These mattes in the corner, top notch, chef's kiss. I love Gourmande Girls quality, like of the shimmers, of the mattes. It blends so beautifully, so nicely, and it builds up so very good. I love the addition of black in the palettes. All three palettes have black, but not all three palettes need black. So I just want them to consider that in the future. Oh my God, look at that shade. It's so pretty. It's pink in my angle. You see a lot of limey yellow green. Oh my God. Stop. This with that blue would be so amazing. Love it. I need to do that. Okay, so that was Gourmande Girls. Those are the three palettes that I would recommend from Gourmande Girls. Now let's talk about Sugar Drizzle. I don't know if you can find this palette or not, but I'm also sure they would be doing something for Halloween, so I don't know about it. But out of the palettes that I have in my collection, I could actually pull off MILF too, because that's also amazing. But this palette, the Trick or Treat palette, more than Halloweeny, I mean, it is Halloweeny, but also it's fall in so many angles. It has 2 beautiful multichromes, 1 duochrome and 3 mattes. Love this baby so very much. I just feel the mattes were apt. The shimmers were absolutely extraordinary in this palette. So definitely wanted to mention this too. Again, I do have a code with Sugar Drizzle. It's just Smithy Sony. Let me show you MILF. This is the MILF palette. I feel like this palette gives you so much of variety. If you are a green and a purple person, this palette, don't ignore this palette. I hardly say those words just because I feel like I have so many palettes in my collection. But if you love purples and green and if you want variety and special shades, MILF palette is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Look at the color story. Mine looks used and well loved. That's because it is. The amount of shifts and shine, look at this shade. The amount of shifts and shine that you get is truly out of the world amazing. I love this baby. Like, it's so beautiful. Even in this white shade, oh my God, as a topper, if you wear this, I see like lime green, purple, pink. It's such a magical shade and it transforms with every matte that you put underneath it. Look at that. Looks very similar to the other shade that I applied, right? But it's totally different on like appearance. This seems much more cool tone and that had definitely a warmth in it. Let's also swatch. What do you want to swatch? Maybe Fly Swatter. Come on, like seriously, I love this. This palette is like a must-have in my collection. Like, if you want variety and special shimmer shades, this palette definitely you need to pick this up. Okay, let's talk about a palette that has not reached me, but I'm so sure that would be one of my favorite Halloween palettes in my collection because I know their formula and it is from Beaute Bar. I'm not talking about the Sun and the Sea palette. This also has a few like deeper tones, but I'm talking about the recently Deinfluenced palette. It might come anytime in my collection. I actually ordered the second it launched, but it's not even shipped. But I was also waiting for this video to record, so I wanted to mention that because I do not doubt Beaute Bar's formula at all. I am so keen and waiting to get that palette in my hands so that I can create some looks because I'm dying. I feel like that is gonna be my Halloween palette for this year. I love that palette. The shimmers are deadly. The mattes are amazing. I feel like they have so many things. I actually did dupe that palette with the already existing palettes in my collection, and I hardly do this. I hardly dupe a palette, find the dupes, like similar shades in my collection, and then go and buy it. I did that with that palette, and that's saying a lot in my opinion. especially when I have a target of 10 palettes to buy this year, and I bought that palette even though I knew that I had similar shades in my collection, but I feel like that is a little bit special. Like I didn't have like exact shades, and I know Bella Beaute Bar quality. It is so difficult for me to stay away from Bella Beaute Bar. It's just ridiculous. So I definitely wanted to talk about it. Again, I do have a code with Bella Beaute Bar. It's Smithy Sony. Everything is Smithy Sony. Do I have a code with everything? Most of the things I do have a code. So if you want to save some 10%, 15% off, look down in the description box below, you will find it. Okay, the next palette that I want to talk about is from Ladybugo, and this is the Castle of Horror palette. This is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette, and what a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. If you are into blues and purples, grungy, deep tones, look at this baby. It is so lovely. The quality is outstanding. Look at this shade, okay? It's like a red to a purple shifting shade, very unique shade. The shimmers are gorgeous. The mattes blend and build so very nicely. You need to see this blue shade, like this matte deep blue shade. I don't think I have a deeper matte blue in my collection. Obviously, I'm wearing a blue, but this tone is so different. Look how beautiful that is. Like how beautiful that is. It's stunning. Let me also show you one shimmer because you should see it. I'll swatch 04, which is a purple, of course. And oh my God. You can find Ladybug Glow on their Etsy website. Look at the shift. It's stunning and ridiculous at the same time. It's so beautiful. Oh my God. I can slap you if you come near me. Like, this is so crazy. Oh my God. When I get excited, that's when I say that, okay? Not literally I'm slapping everybody. No. Okay, so I definitely wanted to mention Castle of Horror from Ladybugo, and it is in collaboration with Blair. So check them out. It's really pretty. Ladybugo does a lot of eyeshadow palettes in like a smaller pans. They don't come out with like extravagant like a big palette, but they do color story really well. I definitely want to recommend this indie brand to check out, Ladybugo. Okay, this is an older eyeshadow palette, discontinued. You cannot find it anymore, but I did have this in my collection, and I felt this doesn't scream Halloween from the cover, but the shades are super Halloweeny in my opinion. And this is from Beaute Bar, and this is the Age of Opulence palette. I should use this so much more. Like, I love the quality of this palette. Like, this is Halloween. What are you talking about? This is Halloween. I love the deep tone blues. I love the purples. I love that it can also go every day with those lighter shimmers and like those brownie tones, but also grungy and smoky at the same time. It's such a pretty palette with such amazing formula. Like, Beaute Bar definitely does affordable palettes at decent quality. I really love them. I cannot wait to see what do they have coming for their Halloween as well as their holiday season. I am so excited for it. Let's talk about two eyeshadow palettes from Wicked Widow Beauty. My love affair started with Wicked Widow Beauty with this palette, and this is the Scissorhands 2 palette. So apt for Halloween, but also so apt for every day, I would say. Oh my God, I love it. Love this palette. The shimmers, the mattes, the iridescent toppers, everything top-notch quality. And I love that these pans are magnetic too, that you can like shift and move around. And when I went to India, I actually took this palette and I moved some of the shades, that especially these green shades, which I'm not comfortable with. I took off those green shades and I replaced it with like some of my special shimmers in the palette, and I popped it because of the 26mm pan. Even the round pans can fit in it. Love that aspect of it. You know how much I customize my palettes, and this palette is amazing, absolutely amazing. Each and every shade is stunning, like stunning. They have the iridescent topper kind of shades, which is truly breathtaking. Actually, when I traveled to India, my sister took a part of this shade because she fell in love with this shade. And oh, you need to see this. It's so pretty. Some of them are like toppery shades, which is like this. I love to pair it with any matte underneath. And some of them, some of the shimmers are super opaque. Like, look at that. Look at the shiftiness. They are just amazing. If you've not tried Wicked Widow Beauty, you definitely need to. Again, I do have a code, Smithy Sony, to save 10% off. It is an affiliate code. So if you do use it, I thank you very, very much. It helps my channel a lot to give it back to you. This, when I'm going to office, and I'm big into purples, as I said, it's very easy for me to plop this all across my eyelid. If I need to, I'll deepen it out with this shade, but this can be a one and done shade for me. I'll top over this to give that sparkly wet kind of an effect. I also do use this shade and this shade together to give that iridescent. This seems like a white shade, but it has like a strong blue and a pink iridescence coming throughout it. It's such a beautiful palette. I cannot recommend this enough. And the second palette that I want to talk about is their Graveyard Smash palette, which is an 8-pan eyeshadow palette. It's an equal split of matte and shimmers. I love that color story. It's coming to me on Monday. I'm filming it on a Sunday, but I could not wait. I cannot wait to test it out and give my opinion to you guys on how it performs. I know the formula of Wicked Widow Beauty. I do not have 1% doubt that they're going to be amazing, because I love the Tea Time Party palette. I love the Scissorhands 2 palette, and now that palette, it's going to be amazing. I know the color story is gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. They have such a variety of looks that you can create out of that palette. It's stunning. I'll obviously pop a picture on the screen for you guys, or by the time you watch this video, I'll definitely have it in my hand. So I'll show you the shifts in the dimension also on the screen. It's amazing. Like that color story, I feel like that definitely speaks fall and Halloween to me. I definitely want to talk about it. Okay, the last brand that I want to talk about is called Enle Rain. They are the one, I'm so mad. They are the one who knocked my socks off this year. I cannot tell you how much I'm amazed and impressed by them. I have a code with them too. It's Smithy Sony for you to save 10% off. And this is the brand that you need to use my code, because they are a pricey brand. But man, oh man, they give us quality and so many shades. It's outstanding. I'm talking about Harvest Moon palette. This palette, obviously it's screaming fall from the artwork, but the shades inside is fall, Halloween, all in one. Look at this palette, you guys. Look at this. Like the same art cover is on the inside too, but this is how the palette looks. All the shades on the first and the second row, they're all special. Not one of the shade is just like a flat shimmer or a sheen shade. All of them have shifts and dimension. I have a full videos talking about this palette and creating 5 looks. I've also created a 6th look where I used this shade alone. That was amazing. I've used each and every shade in this palette. It is absolutely breathtaking. The shade that looks like a meh in the palette is like Sparkling Cider. I'll show you that meh shade. And you need to see this, which is Sweater Weather. And maybe this one too, the flannel shade. These are all variety of textures, but I'll show it to you. So the Sparkling Cider shade is a smoother multichrome, which look like that meh in the palette. It's such a unique shade. I do not have the shade in my collection at all. It looks green when I look at it, and you see like that grungy purpley green. When I see it, I see this green. Like, it's such a unique shade, you guys. Such a unique shade. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so very much. And this is Sweater Weather, which is a purpley shade, similar to the one that I spoke about in my Ladybug Glow palette. Yeah, Ladybug Glow palette. It's similar to that. Not exact, but similar. Look at that. So that's more like shimmery, like really impactful opaque shimmer. Even this was like, everything is super opaque, but it's different variety, I would say. Like this was smooth multichrome. This was a little bit more of like a textured multichrome. And this is the most sparkly multichrome. It's called Flannel. And you can see it, like it's more sparkle than anything else. And it shines like crazy. Like, look at that. I actually have to swatch one more shade to show you different textures. They also have holochromes in this palette, and they have 3 holochromes in this palette. The first one is Hunter's Moon, this one, which I've again used this shade all across my eyelid. The second one is a bougie, this one the red holochrome, and the third one is this one, which is wishful thinking, which is pink to a green flipping shade with holochrome particles in it. Those are the three holochromes that I have. Let me swatch wishful thinking. Oh my god, I love it. It's just so stunning, you guys. Look at that. I hope you can see the holochrome specks. Can you even see the holochrome specks? You need to trust me, because when I put it on my eyes, the holochrome jumps out to you. You definitely cannot ignore that holochrome shiftiness, because it's really, really beautiful. And the way the shimmers are dispersed in this palette is absolutely stunning, like absolutely stunning. I am very, very impressed of this palette. I'm really, really impressed. This definitely is like my top 2 eyeshadow palettes, like fall eyeshadow palettes in my collection, and I have like around 200 palettes in my collection. That's saying a lot, I would say. And I also want to talk about another palette from them, which is Twisted Tea Party. When I am filming this, I've not seen the interior, but I know that it is a Halloween palette. You are gonna go bananas when you see this palette. I'm just gonna say that. You're just gonna go bananas. I'm so waiting for that to be revealed. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's coming in October. But that's it. I just wanted to talk about these Halloween palettes, and you are going to be amazed. Absolutely amazed. If you have any other Halloween palettes in your collection, I was eyeing the Glamlight Chucky palette, Ghost Face palette, the Makeup Revolution It palette. These are all like Halloween palettes. But these color stories speak to me much, much more than that. But that's all for today, guys. If you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Oh, before I go, let me also tell you what's the center shade on my eyes, and that is from Enle Rain. I use this shade, Harvest Moon, all across the center, and that's what you see there right in the middle. That's all.